Look, I want to get to everyone here today at 215-592-9494 because there's so much that happened over the weekend, and I'm curious what stood out to you. I mean, there were so many games to watch. Some of it was super fun. Some of it was kind of boring. Some of it was depressing like the Flyers. Some of it was borderline, I don't know if I'd say exhilarating with the Sixers last night, but it was really good. It was really good to get that win without Joel and to see Maxey do what he did and, to know that the Sixers have now climbed above the Heat. There's a lot going on here, including Caitlin Clark versus Dawn Staley yesterday in college basketball. I mean, all right, John, first crack at it. And again, everyone at 215-592-9494. John, biggest thing that stood out to you this weekend, what do you got?
Joel talked about it after the Grizzlies win. Our teams need to learn to put lesser teams away early and not let them hang around. I love the way Joel talked about it, almost like it was a Nick Nurse revelation presented to him, and they're now applying it, and it really works. Lesser teams don't have a chance to hang around and beat you with some, fluky shots at the end of games if you just do the work. You put the time and effort and discipline in quarters 1, 2, and 3. And they're seeing the benefits being, they're reaping the benefits now. This team is improving before our very eyes. I loved what I saw from them. I think we escaped by the skin of our teeth last night. I thought it was a little bit haughty as an organization to think, hey, Kyle Lowry and Joel, we can sit them both. It doesn't matter. Hey, Webb and Yama over there, no big deal.
Hold it off.
That dude is unbelievable in a sport that everyone is so gigantic. He looks tall. Can you believe he looks tall? And he plays so gigantic.
When he's skilled.
Oh, so skilled.
Yeah, he's skilled.
That's the first time I've really had a chance to dig in on Victor. That was a pleasure. But, great job last night. Disaster averted. You had to go to 2 overtimes to do it. But we're still on track for the best-case scenario seed for us, which would be the 6th seed.
Yeah, that's right.
We're 1 game behind the Pacers with 3 games to go. We're where we need to be. Disaster averted, even though they went a little light. But I think the general theme from the weekend, resounding message of the weekend, put lesser opponents away decisively and early. Don't play with your food. And get this ingrained early and apply it. You got one team at the end of a season, one team at the beginning of a season.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, Sean, I'm not that aggravated by the Phils loss yesterday. They won 2 of 3. They
won a series.
They did win the series.
But it feels gross because we know that team, really, when you look at the rosters, they don't match up to us.
They don't match up. Seltzer, biggest thing that hit you this weekend, and again, everyone at 215-592-9494. I know that Sixers game John was just talking about last night, a little bit late, not dead late, but a little bit late. Maxey went for 52. It was a great win. If you want to react to that, certainly you can. James, what do you got?
Yeah, all of it. I mean, Sixers, the college basketball of it. But for me, I feel good about the Phillies. I know they lost yesterday. It's frustrating, but the bats are going to start hitting. That's the only thing we're worried about. The bullpen has been awesome since the first 2 games. The starting pitching has been phenomenal for the most part, other than a bad Nola start. And I mean, I hate it. I'm a baseball fan. I'm upset about it as a baseball fan. But Spencer Strider's probably done for the season.
It's massive.
Most likely, this is opened up for the Phillies. The division, the whole thing. I mean, I know they haven't started great.
Makes the playoffs easier.
The whole thing.
If you face them.
Yeah, so I think it was a big weekend for the Phillies.
If you face them. Think about that statement. If you face them. I mean,
they're going to still make the playoffs.
Like we face them.
No, I know,
but that's crazy.
It could be inverted now, John. The Phillies could win the division, and the Braves could be the wild card.
Think about how, this is as early as it could possibly happen. It changes the whole trajectory of their season.
It does.
It is, throw out what you thought.
The Strider injury, it's absolutely massive. Ray, the biggest thing that hit you this weekend, what is it?
That was the thing was with the Strider injury because I immediately went, this is great for the Phillies. You always hate to say it, but I went, this is great for them. They should absolutely win the division. And then I went, but the Braves can still hit.
Yeah,
They've got a lineup. And I watched the Phillies team. I forget how many men I know they took 2 or 3, but the amount of people they leave on base is still infuriating.
Yeah. And the bad base running on top of it, too.
Exactly.
I know.
It's like they do it every year for the first month of the season. They forget how to run the bases, and then they're fine. It's crazy to me.
Well, let me say this. Before we view the Strider thing as like a total pathway to the division crown, and obviously it makes it easier for the Phils, but guys, let's just remember this reality, for whatever it's worth. In 2021, the Braves won the whole thing, okay? The World Series without Acuna. So, and by the way, for what it's worth, in 2019, now this is after he had left, but just for point of reference, the Nationals won the World Series the year after Bryce Harper had left. So you can lose a great player and still overcome, and the Braves have proven before they can. But look, obviously, Strider probably being out for the year is a potential game changer within this division and within the National League. Look, he can obviously react to the Phillies winning 2-3 over the weekend, losing yesterday, but the Braves, in all likelihood, losing Strider this year. We'll see where that goes. 215-592-9494. I'll say this, all that to me obscures, for me, what were the two biggest things that stood out this weekend. Number one, the Flyers are probably going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they have lost 7 in a row. And here's the deal. They're still only 1 point back, but first off, you got all sorts of tiebreaker stuff, all right? They also, though, are currently tied with 2 other teams that are 1 point back. The Flyers have 4 games left. Some teams have 5 games left. The thing rattling through my mind is it fair to be mad at the Flyers or not? And my answer is, yeah, it is. Like, I was really trying to figure this out this weekend. When a team overachieves to get into a point to be in a spot to have a chance to make the playoffs, can I be mad at them if they don't? And I really kind of batted this around in my head, and I came to the conclusion I can, because they were obviously good enough to get in a position to be at a spot 2 weeks ago where it was easy to say they should make the playoffs. And now they probably won't make the playoffs.
You got to evaluate how they're coming across the finish line, though. Like in your mind,
yeah.
How are they crossing it? Are they dragging,
yes.
crawling?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much else they can do.
John, you know what it is? You ready for this? In a different sort of way, it's very, in a different way, don't get me wrong, in a different way, it's very 2023 Eagles-esque. They were at a certain point and they hit a freaking wall. Now, the Eagles were at the point where they had the best record in their sport. Flyers never had that thing going. But it's like they just hit a brick wall. And they're probably going to miss the playoff. Look, it's a disaster. 215-592-9494. The other main thing that hit me this weekend, and it was very pleasurable to watch, the greatness of college basketball. I got to tell you guys,
pleasurable to watch.
Pleasurable, fun.
I agree. It was pleasurable.
It was wonderful.
Weird word use, but I like it.
You know what?
I mean, I do think it applies.
Guys,
man, it grosses me out.
I don't give a damn.
You say it.
Listen.
It was just like it was a fairy tale of a weekend in terms of.
It was great. So, all right, a couple things here. So, men obviously later tonight. Their Final Four was on Saturday. Men, which is what most of us have obviously through the years been aligned to watch the most, it's still great when you watch it. Now, I know a lot of people don't pay as much attention as we used to pay, and we don't know the players as much as we used to know. But I'm telling you, when you watch this thing, it's still really good. I think there's been a very compelling tournament with some early upsets, but then the great teams advancing. Probably the 2 best teams in college basketball truly about to play each other tonight, which is a rarity to the national championship game. I mean, this is a great one with UConn and Purdue. That Purdue big man is really good, and UConn obviously is really great. So very, very, very compelling there. But compelling times 3 on the women's side. Compelling times 7 on the women's side. I mean, listen, first off, women's college basketball I feel pretty confident that I can say this, has never been better. I'm certain that it's never garnered more attention.
Well, you saw the ratings,
We
right?
all saw the ratings. Like, it's never gotten more. The shot making is incredible. And it's not just Caitlin Clark. I mean, the skill level has advanced so much in the women's game. It is very pleasurable to watch. Caitlin Clark, obviously, is absolutely... She's Steph Curry-like. She is really incredible. But then you also get to Dawn Staley. And what she's built at South Carolina, the sense of pride I have as a Philadelphian that Dawn Staley is one of us, a Philadelphian, goes down there. It's too bad she wasn't still Temple's coach, which she was for a brief period of time. Remember that, Rhea?
I was the PA announcer, so
Were
I remember
really?
it very well.
Yeah.
She was always great to me, so I was rooting for her hugely yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing... I mean, she now has 3 national championships. She's built an incredible... Look, I told you last year I wanted her to be the Sixers coach. I really did. I was fine with Nick Nurse. fine with Nick Nurse. But, I mean, Don Staley.
Dude, they're 109-3 the last 3 years. South Carolina is 109-3 over the last 3 seasons.
It's incredible. I mean, but more than just like the Don Staley South Carolina thing, and more than just the Caitlin Clark thing, although that's a huge chunk of it, I just am so happy as a sports fan that there's, for me, like what I would now say is another option. And I don't mean that to be rude in the past. It was not something that interests me much in the a little bit. But now it's like a whole new world for me. And I think for a lot of people, that's probably the case where I've it's light has dawned on me that this is a very compelling thing to watch. So, look, there was a lot that happened this weekend. Obviously, we want to hear from you at 215-592-9494. Your chance to win a super cool prize. We'll get to that up ahead. Again, from the Phillies, 2-3, but losing yesterday. Sanchez didn't go long. He was okay, but not great. Ranger obviously back on Saturday. Nola was a big deal. Let's just not lose track of that. Getting Aaron Nola on track, which did not surprise me, but that was a terrific thing to say. So, look, all of it on the table, 215-592-9494, where you stand on everything that went down this weekend, and your chance to win a cool prize, that's up ahead next. Your phone calls. Joe DeCamara and Jon Ritchie, what hit you the most this weekend? What stood out to you on 94 W?